Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi,
People are
everyone.
joining.
Yeah, that's right. They will receive a notification from the platform. Hey, hello. Welcome.
Hello, hello, guys.
Yeah.
Feel free to be active in chat because I will keep an eye on our chat. So use it.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Okay. All right.
Hello, hello.
Okay. We should play some music, perhaps.
Yeah,
Yeah, we should do that next time, perhaps.
probably
Yeah.
something cute.
Hey, hello. So good to see you again, Lillian. Okay, so we got some folks from the program joining us today, which is great. Okay, so hey, how Natalie, we also see some new faces, which is fantastic. Welcome to Lifty Community. In case you're new here, we just added a lot of new members to the Lifty Community yesterday. So welcome. Oh, you cannot hear me well. That's a good.
Yeah, you sound a bit like not as usual. So probably try.
How about now? Is it better?
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I just realized I turned the volume very low, so that's why. Okay, sounds good. Shall we start?
Yeah, let's start. I can start sharing my screen.
Yeah. So, yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. Today we got Kristina, who is a senior product designer and also career coach at Liftyz. So she is a fantastic mentor, and a lot of our students really love, working with her. So today you're so lucky because you got to meet her, and she's going to share her expertise in public speaking, and she's going to share a lot of actionable steps and frameworks to help you to be an amazing public speaker. So I guess without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Kristina to run the show.
So something happened because now I can't share my screen. Let me go with the whole desktop. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay.
You can see a screen now.
Perfect. Not sure what was this mistake, but basically that's me and Janus, just in case you forgot how we look from those 5 seconds gaps that we had. But let's start with the presentation. And I have a question for you. What if your next presentation could change someone's perspective forever? Let's make that happen today. What about this? What do you think, guys? And I will start with some numbers because we love numbers. Did you know that about 75% of the population has a fear of public speaking? That's more than 6 billion people not sharing their ideas, not delivering their messages, just because they are afraid. Those 6 billion voices that have something unique to say and not sharing it because of the fear. Among those 6 billion people, I found myself too. At 23, I stood in front of 50 clients on the actual stage, my first public speech ever. My heart racing, my palms sweating. There I was, tasked to present about SEO, a topic I learned a week before this public event. And I wasn't just nervous, I was terrified. But in that very moment of panic, I realized something. I learned that in facing our fears, we find our true strengths. So, like me, Every one of you, you have your unique, different fears, your own fears. But within those fears lies incredible potential for growth. Don't forget it. Through fear, you can become a greater version of yourself. But why should you care, right? Now think about this. How many of you ever have to give presentations? The answer, we all do, sooner or later, at school or at work, during an interview or workshop, or even at a social event or a lovely dinner, Christmas dinner with your family. We all have to present. And when we do, it's not just about getting through it. We want to have an impact. We want to be heard by people listening to us. And the way we present is crucial. The way we present can open doors to new opportunities. It can also close those doors. It can inspire, it can persuade, and yes, it can even change the course of our careers and personal lives. This isn't just a skill, it's a tool, a powerful one that can shape your future. That's why you should care. You want to make a difference, influence, change your life, change the life of others. I hope I answered this question. So yeah, it's a tool. Keep in mind, it's a tool. So is it possible to learn this power? Yes. The question is how we bridge the gap between where we are right now and where we want to be, how we go from anxious, nervous presenters to someone who influences people, change their perspective in an interview, in casual conversation, in a meeting. Well, I prepared for you those 5 key ingredients to make this happen. And we'll dig in every of them later, but basically those key ingredients is authenticity and personality, the giving mentality and providing value, the awareness of the situation and knowing your audience, the strong start and even stronger finish of your presentation, and storytelling with words and visuals. Let's go into each of them. So the most important thing and the most powerful tool you have in your toolbox is you. You as a presenter. People looking at you, they are listening to your words. You as a presentation. And authenticity means knowing yourself, being real, and being passionate about presenting. Share ideas, because whenever you present, you are planting this idea in someone's head. The idea that is growing in you. And also, I feel so weird looking at my screen without seeing anyone. I will just from time to time go and check if everything is okay.
Yeah, I'll let you know if they have questions, so don't worry about it. I'm your buddy.
Thank you so much, because I don't see anything except my own slides and it makes me anxious as well. So you are the presentation here. Your unique personality is a part of presentation. If someone can replace you presenting the same talk as you do, you're not trying, you're not personalizing, you're not opening yourself to audience. And in order to deliver your messages and to make them valuable, to connect with your audience, it's important to show that you're a human being, that you have emotions, that you have ideas, that you have stories behind you. And your personal experiences, your personal stories, they're not just add-ons. They are the essence of presentation that resonates with your audience. Remember the story in the beginning that I told you about my own experience, my first public speaking? Oh my God, I still feel the still feel like losing my confidence just remembering it, just trying to memorize all those things. It's something that you can relate to. You can connect with me, because now you can think, okay, she was so nervous, but now she feels so comfortable. I can do it too. So being part of the presentation, being authentic, bringing your personality is a huge, huge part of how to make your presentation powerful, how to influence people, how to bring this idea from your mind to mind of others and transform. Let's go to the other pillar. What value you can offer. The giving mentality. I've been to so many talks that, you go there, they try to teach you something, presenting their book, but every time when they're saying about their book, you have a question. But I have it in my book, so buy my book. I don't have a book, so I always use a notebook. In this notebook, it's all the answers. So if you want to learn how to present like a pro, purchase my book now. This is not the right mentality for bringing value into your presentation. Whenever I'm preparing for any kind of public speaking event, for workshops, for just like small sessions with my students, I'm thinking what I can give, what I can offer. Do I have a personal experience that I can offer? And that's the best case. If you personally experience something, if you went through something that you can share, explain, and your value is in your experience. If not, you need to steal experience from others, or not to steal, more like to borrow. You need to research, you need to find more information, gather details, find some numbers, find interesting statistics and details, and be prepared. Be prepared for your public speaking or for your presentation or for your interview, anything. It's about bringing this value, offering value. And another important aspect of this giving mentality is to think, what is your goal? Your goal is not information. Your goal is transformation. You want to transform people with your idea, to make them move, to shift perspective, to change. So after your presentation, they will not do what they normally do. They will get inspired. They will follow your advice or follow your idea. The transformation, the giving this value of transformation, keeping this idea in mind that you want to shift the perspective of people you're talking to, is what makes your presentation valuable. It's what creates this connection between you and the audience. And you want to have this connection. You want to give. And then purchase my book. I'm kidding, guys. I don't have a book yet. But anyway, let's think about your audience. You are my audience today. And I have to be really aware who is behind there. It's a bit easier for me because I know I see a lot of familiar faces. I see some students. I see people I know, and I know that you're joining because mostly of you knowing about Liftyz, so you most likely you're designers. So it's easier for me to adapt because I know who will be my audience. I know who I will be preparing my presentation for. Junior designers, mid designers, or even senior designers who want to have this power, who want to have the power to bring their words to the audience and make an impact. Even if in your everyday work, when on just a regular stand-up, present in a way that everyone wants to listen more, learn more, and believe in the value design can bring. We need words. We need more than just visuals. And I know that we love visuals, but we need words, and we need our audience, and we need to know audience really well. And on top, knowing your audience, understanding you're talking to stakeholders or to designers or to developers, you need to understand the context. What's going on? Is it working meeting? Is it relaxing session like we have today? Or is it something more big? A TED Talk, probably. That would be scary. Don't jump to TED Talks immediately. But even the context of the situation, what's going on, and who is your audience is something that you need to adapt. So every time you need to adapt to your audience and what they want from you. And this adaptivity is very, very important. You're changing yourself while keeping yourself authentic. So I'm not telling you pretend to be someone else or just changing your emotions. I'm telling about those small changes of like adjusting your language. Instead of super formal corporate speech, you can be more friendly. You can use even some Gen Z words if you're talking to Gen Z audience. Do you have a raise, guys? So you need to adapt your language to the audience you're talking to, and your audience is always the key. Once they can relate to you, once they can understand you and connect to you, they will be on your side, and you can win the game of presenting or win the audience. And something that is not very clear for many people is that facts are not so important. Feelings win over facts. You can bring large amount of statistics at the meeting, trying to show stakeholders the importance of design or how wrong is the decisions they're trying to make. You can bring tons of messages and researches, and it will do nothing, because we humans, we are emotional animals. You need to reach your audience emotionally by telling stories, using the right language, and knowing when to show your emotions. When you need to be angry, when you need to be curious, when you need to be happy. And your emotions is something that you can spread. People will copy your emotions, they will believe you. And if next time you're talking to stakeholders and you're trying to sell them idea, not to follow their pattern, try to include emotions into your talk. Tell them, like, imagine users suffering, in pain, their families crying while they're trying to go through a dark pattern. And when you bring in emotions, you can really, really connect to your audience, because audience is feeling you. They're not just listening to you, they're feeling you. And another important aspect is to praise our audience. And that means be grateful for them to be here. I'm always so happy whenever I have people listening to me, and I'm like, oh my God, someone is listening to me. And it makes me really, really happy just to know that people are interested in my past experiences, or that I have something valuable to share. And I'm really, really grateful for everyone joining today's talk. So keep in mind that your audience is one of those key ingredients for you to present. Without knowing it, ignoring it, you can't do anything. And also, a really funny advice I've heard a lot about, like talking to public, especially from the stage, is like, imagine everyone naked. Oh my God, that's a terrible advice. I don't want to see a lot of people naked on the stage. I'm already quite stressed. And also, it creates a barrier between you and the audience while you want to be connected. Unfortunately, with Zoom, I can't see your faces or your eyes, but I'm looking in my camera trying to imagine that I can. So every time I'm looking at my camera, I'm imagining people behind it, their eyes. And I'm not escaping those eyes, because I want to see your eyes. I want to connect with you. That's how you stay really, really connected to your audience. And please don't ever imagine your audience naked. That's a terrible, terrible idea. So let's go further. And once you showing yourself and knowing your audience, you need a strong start. And the fun fact, that's why I'm using here our friend Dory, is average millennial attention span is 12 seconds. But now with Gen Z, you have only 8 seconds, guys. Only 8 seconds. You have 8 seconds to get the audience, to capture their attention before they tune out, before they just start scrolling their Instagram. And especially to larger events or to more corporate events and to your working environment, it's so easy to distract everyone. They can just check their emails, messages, Slack notifications while you're trying to explain the very important problem we are facing in the company. You have a very short attention span and you need to bring a strong start immediately. So the intro of your presentation, the first 8 seconds, you need a hook. The hook is something that creates this immediate interest in eyes of your audience. What can be the hook? It might be a story, a question, a metaphor, a shocking statistic, like 75% of population are suffering, or it can be a mix of everything. If you remember, I started my talk with a question. I started my talk with a very futuristic question. What if your next presentation could change someone's perspective forever? That was my hook, because it made you think. It made me like, well, can I? What? After this session? No way. So I love starting my talks with questions because it helps. It gives people this second to think, what if? What if I have this power? What if I can? And hopefully you can understand like the point of hook. It involves you. It invites you to be part of this presentation. And also once you have a hook, you need to transition to your topic. So I was using statistics, for example, to shock you a bit on top of my hooks. Like majority of people are the same like you are. And sometimes you can also need a self-introduction, but I basically skipped it because I thought it can make this presentation more powerful. And also in your work environment, in many cases, everyone knows who you are already. Why would you represent yourself every time? And then you need to bring benefits for your audience, why they should listen to you. Why they should listen to you. So that's why one of my slides, but why should you care about presenting like a pro? What if I'm afraid nothing happens? So I explained what are the benefits for you, how you can influence people, how you can use this powerful tool to persuade and open doors. So this is a strong start. Strong start is very, very important. The rest of your presentation might be forgotten, but people will remember in many cases how you started and how you finished. And speaking of how you finish, a strong finish is even more important. There is an interesting cognitive bias called the pick-end rule. So the secret is that this cognitive bias impacts how we remember the past events. And we judge the whole experience based on how we felt at the peak moments. So some emotional elements when you felt personal, when you connected, and at the end. And the end is very important because people will remember what you're leaving them with. So whenever you finish your presentation, your talk, your session, use the end to summarize, to bring these most powerful items you've been discussing to people and to discuss them again. Just brings them to the light one more time. But there is one thing to remember. People can usually remember only 3 main points from presentations. So make sure you keep it under 3 main points of your summary of your presentation. So now when we know how to start and how to finish, probably we are curious, what's in between? And I prepared a lovely quote by Plateau, but also while researching quotes for this presentation, I found out that this quote most likely is fake, and Plateau is never have ever taught it. So, but I left it here anyway with his lovely picture because the quote is powerful. Those who tell stories rule society. And in between start and finish, you need to tell the story. Storytelling is crucial for design. For your case study, for your next design interview, for whiteboard challenge, you're telling stories. And stories win. And to explain you how important stories are, the Stanford research shows that story is up to 22 times more memorable than facts alone. They win over facts, stories and emotions. Sorry, facts. But imagine people remembering your story 22 times better than any fact, any interesting fact alone. We are driven by stories, by beginning, by middle, by end. We are emotional human beings, and we love good story, don't we? And as a designers, we can tell both visual stories and stories with words. Words are as important as visual storytelling. So just like to remind you, the visual storytelling has its own benefits. The images is universal language. You don't need to translate it to other languages. You don't need to remember how to say the thing in English or in Spanish or French, because stories talk to everyone. And they make your story, your presentation more accessible to everyone, because everyone can understand the power of imagery. Visual storytelling has immediate impact. Visuals sometimes can explain ideas quickly and effectively. So you look at the story here, the visuals of a girl looking at text. So she's representing both the visual and attention driven towards. So you can see the communication, the message behind this image immediately. And another huge advantage of visual storytelling is memory retention. People tend to remember visual information better. So if you want to make sure your audience will remember what you're showing, you need to attach an image to it, a memorable image. That's why memes are so popular in presentations nowadays. So memes or GIFs is such a huge advantage, because now you will think of, oh, there was a Dory when she was talking about the 8-second attention span. Or there was a Star Wars meme. Is it possible to learn this power? And now you will think, oh, what was the power about? So visual storytelling helps with this memory. And obviously engagement is a huge advantage of visuals. But visuals are not enough. You need to bring the meaning. That's where words are also important. What words you're using, what titles you're choosing, how do you highlight those titles in your case study, in your interview? What are you actually saying? Because we designers, we tend to focus on visual storytelling too much. We're showing wireframes, we're showing final designs, and you can see this beauty. The idea was born, and then the idea was growing and growing into final UI, and you can clearly see it. But the meaning is empty. There is no language support. There is no words behind this beautiful visual story. And it loses its power, because on its own, without explanation, without details, without your personal experience going through this visual journey, it's not clear what you did there. how much impact you had. What if you, I don't know, you volunteer to choose a new tool, or you try to teach your teammates a new feature in Figma? It's not clear there. You need to add the storytelling with words. And the words is something that brings details and depth. They help. They allow for more detailed expressions. Images on its own can be very powerful for this quick message. But when you need more depth, when you need to explain your specific idea, your thought, your concept, visuals alone are not enough. They can't fully capture it. So choosing your words wisely is very important. And the words, the language you're using, you can express your personality, your voice. Sometimes I speak slow, sometimes I talk faster. I do poses, longer poses, even longer poses. And I can create the mood, the influence by those words. I can't do it with images alone. On top of it, words brings flexibility. Language can adapt. It can alter your tone, style, content. It can bring those tunes. Depending on what language you're using, you can feel like you're talking to a rapper from a neighborhood, or you're talking to a professor at English university. So it all those shades that are brought by words. And when you combine both, you can create a truly powerful image. Image that stays longer in people's hearts and that delivers your idea directly in their minds. Your goal is to bring this transformation, this idea to their mind, to have the shared idea together with your audience. So use both. Never, never, ever think of, oh, I just need to write something here. Something with ChatGPT probably. And I know ChatGPT is a super powerful tool, and I wanted to raise this question, even though no one asked. I use ChatGPT a lot. It's super helpful for brainstorming, for adapting this style and voice and tone of your language, for grammar and everything. But when you just giving it too much flexibility and freedom, it replaces you. You're losing your authenticity and personality, leaving all your words to ChatGPT. And everyone starts to sound like a template. You don't want to be a template. You want to be a person, a real one. And your words, every your message, every your social post, anything, they have power. And you're wasting your power when you're not including yourself in those words. You can design the most beautiful landing page, website, mobile app, post it on Dribble, in your portfolio, on socials, and just not supported by anything. It will be just such a waste of your talent. Such a pity not seeing what was behind this visual. What are your real words? What are your real ideas? What is your real design process? Don't fake it. Make it yourself. But still, you can use ChatGPT for a lot of cases. So find this balance between being you, bringing your personality to the words you're using, while making it slightly easier for you to write, to make sure the grammar is correct with ChatGPT. It's about the balance. And I wanted to share some more resources for you to look at, something that you can check. And I've really enjoyed myself. So How to Present Like a Pro Scientifically by Pete Judo. It's an amazing presentation. So just to quickly explain, he shares like 6 points. It's mostly targeted for someone who wants to do public speaking, a TED Talk, you want to see your notes and so on. So really nice one. Also, How to Talk to Camera by Thomas. It's about this mindset shift. How do you need to change? I know it's more focused for YouTubers, or how to talk to your camera, because it's so awkward to talk to camera when you don't see anyone and there is no one behind it, but it's there looking at you with this little green light. So it's quite a really nice video that like gives you the right perspective of how to think about talking to camera and in general talking with your authenticity and personality out. And another book by Mehdi Hassan called Win Every Argument. It's not about winning every argument or taking part in every argument you can see. It's just under the word argument, he actually means any kind of like discussion, any public speaking, any debate, any interview. It's all about argument, because you want to win in an interview. You want to be heard instead of the other guy. So it's an argument, hire me, not the other guy. So it's this really good book. I only started reading it, and I'm a big fan of Mehdi Hassan in general in terms of how he talks, but I really recommend this book. So some more resources for you. And my final 3 pillars that hopefully you can remember from this presentation, or more likely, if there's anything to take away from today, it's 3 pillars to focus on: you, your audience, and your story. Thanks for your attention, guys. We have time for Q&A because I was too fast and too efficient.
No, you're great. Thank you so much for presentation. I love that you highlight a lot of good things that we need to consider when we deliver a good presentation. I really love that. And I also like the quotes that you shared, and also the Dory. That's my favorite, character. And I really like that. So we open for Q&A right now. Do you guys have any questions? If you have any questions, feel free to drop your question in the chat box, and I'm going to read it out loud, and I'm going to invite Kristina to answer your questions. So there might be like a 1 or 2 minute delay, I noticed. Just a heads up.
Yeah, no worries. I'm just like keeping up with the chat, trying to
Yeah, for sure. Yes.
Oh, that's my favorite code. I realized I don't really read.
Yeah, that's right. They don't really read. I had a frustration, oh my gosh, yesterday when I was going through all the recordings that I for a usability test that I conducted. Oh wow.
Yeah, they scan.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
It's actually funny that how it affects us, like TikTok, the race of this like short, fast content with super short attention span. You can just like get it in 10 seconds.
Yeah, that's right. Totally agree on that. So no wonder all the marketers want to make the text bold and loud, and they always want to make the logos bigger.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're still waiting for questions. Let's see. Okay, give me 1 moment. Any questions for Kristina? Or maybe like, general questions about like portfolio, how to present portfolios, or present your case studies with a good storytelling structure, this kind of stuff. We're happy to answer those questions. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah.
We'll talk one by one.
Okay, sorry. I can grab my headphone, give me 1 moment. But you guys can leave your questions if you want to in the meantime.
So while you're still thinking about your questions, I would actually address this question about presenting your portfolio or case study. More like case study, because most likely during the interview, there will be a particular project you need to present. And you can't just follow the regular pattern. You can't just go start like, 3 weeks ago, I started designing those wireframes, the product manager came in and we did something and then they tested. That's not how you sell your case study. Imagine like your case study is a story about you, what you did, how did you grow here during this project, your personal growth. Show it immediately. Choose the sexiest part, the sexiest numbers, the sexiest achievement of this case study and bring it immediately. Just in the very beginning. You can start with something. Okay, I have a very good example because through my case study, I can always brag that we attracted 66 million users within a year thanks to this feature. And I always start with that because it's the biggest thing to brag about. Why would I tell like, oh, we have this interesting feature of scratch the price, that you scratch the price, you see the price, when I don't know what was the impact for product, what was there in for business, because eventually all the designers, all the tech workers at a startup, at a company, we are here about money. We are making money. We are not growing the beauty of this planet or unlocking an ecosystem or anything like that, unfortunately or luckily. We need to focus on business because business is what pays our salary. And our salary is paid thanks to this business growing. So the more business is growing, the more salary we are getting, the more holidays, the more benefits, vacations, and so on. Think about it, how much value you can bring to the table. Because it's not only about aesthetics or visuals. Design is not only just some graphics. It's about being a business tool that brings growth. And I see question. Should we avoid the animation of the presentation deck or should have? That's a question from Aurora. Thanks so much for asking. To be honest, I think it depends on the audience. So you need to adapt to your audience. For designers, I always do something pragmatic and simple because whenever it comes to slides, because when we design in slides, we're getting like tons of text, tons of requests on animations. So I feel like every designer who ever designs slides hates those. So for designers, I would always keep my slides super simple, super static, minimal, just one big title. And they're like, oh, there is so much empty space. I love your presentation. That's like the most feedback I've heard so far, like whenever I do a very spacious, empty presentation. So it really depends on the audience. If you need to, for example, for tech stakeholders, if you're working in crypto and you're bringing presentation without dark theme and neon, you're doomed. You need some neonish lights, dark background, and some animation. Ideally, it's some gify robot going through your slides and so on. So it's really, you need to understand who will be your audience, who will be behind the screen or behind the table or behind the stage. What is their interest? What type of people they are? And your presentation should reflect it. Your presentation, your language, the way you present, the way you're trying to connect to them. You would probably prepare some quotes from their favorite book authors instead of Dory. Or you would probably address like their most popular blog or something like, or YouTubers they watch. So you need to know who are their gods, what they love in this, and bring to your audience to talk, because it's not changing your personality just to address the authenticity. It makes you more relatable. They understand, oh, we are on the same page. Even though, like, for example, I might be the right wing and you might be the left wing when we talk about politics. But whenever I show something that I know how the left wing works, and I don't support it personally, but I understand you. And this understanding is what builds this connection. that I understand you. I might be not you or not interested in what you're doing. I'm definitely not supporting whatever you're doing, but I have this connection because I understand you. So I hope it answers your question. And we have
I
a
love
question
that.
on. I find it more challenging giving a presentation online than in person, and there is no eye contact or feedback from the audience. Do you have any tips for overcoming this? Oh my God.
Yeah. I think you just experience that, right? Because you cannot see the faces. And
Thanks for asking.
yeah, I
Because
mean,
yeah, it's a very common problem. And normally, like whenever I join a lot of sessions, people just turn off their cameras, and you're just like talking, even in Zoom, to a bunch of dark rectangles with names on them, and you're just like trying to imagine people behind it. The hack that helps me is I'm trying to imagine someone I know, one student, one person I would love to explain this topic behind my screen. So instead of looking into the camera or into my screen, I imagine this one single person being here. It might be my friend, someone I know, someone from my students, someone who will be a good representation for the audience I'm talking to. So for example, today I could easily imagine my students sitting in front of me and me just explaining the same topic in person. It makes it more personal as well. And this little hack always helps me with like all those online presentations. But to be honest, like whenever you have more in-person presentation, when you can actually look into people's eyes, it's so much energy. It's nothing, you can't get the same online, unfortunately. So you need to kind of get used to it a bit. You need to like ask people to react with emotions, engage with comments, type, ask questions. It's something that kind of like signifies me, okay, I'm not losing audience. They're here, they're not sleeping, they're not running away, not scrolling Instagram, hopefully. It helps me to stay in touch, like what's going on. But overall, yes, it's harder. And the best tip I have so far is just imagine one single person behind your screen you're talking to. That's a really great tip, Kristina. I usually leave talking about my impact on the user business until the end of my interview chat, but we'll try starting with it next time. Thanks for this note, Natalie, and also nice to see you here. Natalie is one of my Dribble students. So, yeah. Yes, I just like it's hard to think of it because it so naturally comes at the end, because you had to do all the job in order to achieve this success or failure, depending what you're trying to present. Because I have one case study where I'm talking about my failure, but basically, you need to start with it. You need to bring this interest because people don't have patience to listen to the end. You will lose them around the second sentence if there is nothing interesting for them, if you will just go simply through your process. So bring the juicy part at the beginning, no matter what it was, like unexpected discovery, something got broken, your developer tried to kill you. Bring it at the beginning. I had a conflict. My developer killed me almost, but I won. I brought this feature to users, and that's the impact I'm bringing with it. So bring it to the very beginning. And also you can approach the same for writing, because writing your case study is telling the story with words and visuals in a more static way. So the same for your public case study, bring the sexy part at the top. And I see a lot of thanks and great tips. Thank you, guys. I'm really happy to see you engaging in the chat. Again, it's my signifier. We are all alive here.
yeah.
Other questions?
Yeah. Today we have a smaller groups. So I love that, to be honest, because sometimes in smaller groups, it means that we got more time to talk and to answer all questions. Last time we weren't able to answer all questions as I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just got a
And
new
also,
question. Sorry, God.
No, I was just thinking like, also whenever I run something for the first time and I'm telling it and I'm not sure if it will be 1 hour talk or a 20-minute talk, and I was like in the beginning, oh my god, I'm going too fast. I shortened it too much because I was so overwhelmed with the amount of information around presenting you can share. So I was like, I need to cut it, and then like, oh no, it's not enough. So
Yeah.
it's funny sometimes.
Yeah.
Saurabh. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Is it Saurabh? I hope so. Just
Yeah.
give me a
There's a
sign.
delay, so maybe
Um,
it would take some time for
yeah.
her to respond.
What's more challenging when you're sharing your screen with the camera on and without making eye contact, camera off? Well, there is this thing with camera on off. Basically, whenever it's camera on, hard to not to focus on your face, you know, and ending up thinking about it. Just like, oh my God, is it my hair? Oh no, my eyebrow. Oh my God, I'm using my hands too much. So your own picture can distract you in many cases. So sometimes when I'm talking to the public, I'm just moving away my Zoom camera window, just like not to focus on my own face and try to just like look into the camera hole, which has this green light, and imagine there is someone behind it. Because it's really distractive whenever you have your face in front of you, and we all have complexes, we all have doubts about our appearance, the way we behave, the way we talk, and the camera sometimes can bring more of them alive in front of you. So it's very, very distracting. So I would just like not fully switch off the camera, because you need to check from time to time. I'm sitting in the correct position. Where is my face? Am I just not cut or something like that? So it's good to have camera and just like check in from time to time. But I always recommend to kind of move it away from your direct look and try to focus on like this imaginary friend behind you. And often when I say it, I feel kind of awkward. Talk to your imaginary friend. But guys, yes, it really helps. So camera on, but not there in front of your face. And yeah, it's quite challenging. It's something that you need to adapt to. And thanks to the fact that I was mentoring dribble course, and I had a weekly call for 2 hours talking myself every week in front of a small group of my students. So it's a bit easier because I know them and so on. But it's the same. Every week I was presenting. So it changes you. It just like helps you so much. So practice, and practice more. That's the real secret to unlock the presentation skills. You can't just like take all my advice here and just like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to TED Talk. I will bring my knowledge to the public. You need to practice before. And the more you practice, the better it goes. It doesn't happen in one day or in one go. Most likely you will fail a number of first presentation, you will forget something, you will feel nervous, your hands will shaking, you will be sweating. I'm still getting hot after every public talk, don't worry. It's not going away. But you will get more comfortable, more and more comfortable with every interview. It's the same. Whenever like the first time talking about your experience and presenting yourself in front of a recruiter, just like such a stressful. And after the, I would say 20 interviews, you're like, okay, let me tell you a story. I'm such a wonderful designer, you need me. And it becomes a game changer because you're not nervous anymore. Yeah, we have more questions. And I was correct with names, super. Oh my God, that's the right one. Yes, please bring the practice gift. So, Druid's Heart. One more question from Aurora. If the project is a concept project, how could I talk about the business impact, talk about the marketing size and potential value in the background? So if it's a concept project, It's not about business. It's about you. You learned something. You discovered something. So instead of focusing on business or trying to imagine there was a business impact, you can't fake it, guys. You can't, with the concept projects, tell that like, probably if this idea was built, we would make in hundreds of millions of dollars, because why are you not making it right now? Why are you not selling this idea? Why this is not built? Why you're not a millionaire yet? You know. So with the concept project, it's your learning journey. The story is about your learnings, and you need to bring your experience in the beginning. So you can say something like, even though you've been doing user testing or user interviews on your family and friends, poor people, being friend of designer is a disaster sometimes. So even if you were testing on them, there will be something interesting you will get. There will be an unexpected behavior, and you can make it your biggest learnings. So you can start, what was my biggest learnings in this project? What you personally like was, your perspective was changed because of this learning. And it might be something really unexpected, something like someone brought a terrible feedback and you learned how to deal with feedback when your mom says, oh my God, what an ugly website you did. Stop it. Stop being designer. And like, I learned how to deal with negative feedback from my parents, which is already an achievement beside design. Not everyone can do it. So bring it about yourself. It's your journey, and your biggest learning is the most important part of this concept project, not some fake numbers. I hope I answered your question. How are we doing? Any thumbs?
Yeah, so they don't really allow us. I don't think they have like emoji options in this platform, but I personally would thumbs up with my red. Thank you so much for your presentation today. Do we have any last questions before we closed? Before we end this live session?
I'm going to make a screenshot. Just say cheese. Oh,
What happened?
Sorry, guys. We just discovered a new feature.
Oh, okay. So it.
Oh, wait.
All right. So this is fireworks. Okay. So this is thumbs up.
This is fireworks.
Okay.
What do hands something doing? How did I? The balloons. How balloons happened? I had balloons, you know. Sorry, guys. We just
yeah, we're just messing around. Yeah, but anyway, so we also got one question about writing notes. Okay. All right. So I love writing notes because it's the best way for me, you know, to collect my thoughts and to make sure that I'm on track. So for some conversations, when, for example, for those conversations that we don't really have like any presentation decks, what I always love to do is to open up a Miro board or like a Google Doc so that they can see my notes. So it helps me to make sure that everybody is on the same page. And I found that is super helpful because, you know, people sometimes they cannot hear something. They need to see something and react. And I also invite my coworkers, you know, to be a contributor for that documentation. So they can add their notes as well and share like relevant information. And I love this collaboration process. And it always very productive. I just had this meeting with a very tough coworker this morning, and then I found that super helpful because, you know, people love to see and react, and having some things to see and having a notepad up front, it helps them to think through things before saying things. And at the end of the meeting, we have a very well-written notes, you know, at the end. So it's like a win-win situation. It helps foster the communication. And at the same time, you have a meeting notes when you walk away from the meeting. So I love that. And I really encourage all designers to have a habit of documenting the meetings and any, design updates. And those evidence and those notes would be a very great asset for you when you create your portfolios, when you prepare interviews, and so on. Yeah, do you have anything to add, Kristina?
Yeah, I have a secret connection between ability of taking notes and ability to present. So when you listen into someone's talking, it's their presentation that you're squeezing into bullet points for yourself. And then you need to do the same for your audience. You have the bullet points and now you need to present. So it's like a reversed exercise you can practice to become a better presenter in the future, because it's about hearing a lot of information and squeezing it to the very core. And then you have the very core that you need to talk to. You can't just go by bullet points. Imagine how short my presentation will be if I will just follow my 10 bullet points I have. Okay, it's more than 10, but anyway, you need to learn this reversed exercise. So notes are very, very important, even for this skill.
Love that. Yeah, thank you so much again for your presentation today, Christina. I really love your presentation today. And we're going to share the recording, with the community members after this section. Let's wait like 10 minutes, perhaps. It takes some time to upload. But anyway, so it's good to see you all today. We're going to have an exciting event next week, the Design Hackathon project. So we just can't wait to see you all, just come and take a look. If you don't want to join as a participant, as a community member, you will still have access to the live stages. So you'll be able to see all the presentations and yeah, all the amazing insights shared by our mentors and judges. So yeah, stay tuned and I'll talk to you soon. And thanks again for participating in today's presentation.
Yeah, and my last words from me. When you're presenting, it's you, your audience, and your story. 3 points,
Love
guys.
that. Yeah. Nice conclusion. I'm going to add that to my Instagram story today.
Till the next time, guys.
All right. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Bye bye.